I was just thinking about something here that. Okay, but like I was trying to tell you, Lee, I think that Asian Americans do have a good place in this country. I mean, they have the infrastructure, they have their own stores. You just said they had Chinatown. You just said that black people and white people, spend so much money in their restaurants that it's insane. So my question to you is, and they have twice the rate of college admissions in whites. So I want to ask you, how do you think, in a way, do Asian males or females go through racism in America?
Wait, repeat that last question one more time.
Okay. What I'm trying to ask you is, how do Asian males and females go through racism in America, even though they own a lot of the stores in America, and they have a network, and so many black people and white people go to the restaurants? That is insane. So how can an Asian male or female go through racism in America and have it oppressed them?
Well, I mean, it's not just about the restaurants. I mean, restaurants are not really like that much of a huge of importance. I mean, it's just basically, I mean, if you look into like Hollywood, for example, I mean, there's not that many Asian Americans in Hollywood. So I mean, this is clearly that they could be there could be racism against them in that opportunity. Or say it could be like law enforcement. You don't see that many Asian Americans that are in law enforcement. So then that could be an area where they experience racism. I mean, or just basically the people. You even see it in the movies. I mean, American-made movies in Hollywood that are directed their hatred towards Asians. That's an expression of racism right there. If you look at the music industry, there's no like Asian Americans in the music industry. You can't even think of one in America. So then they don't have that opportunity. Just because like the restaurants are the only thing they have, because it just so happens that some Americans appreciate their food and they have no other options but to go there. But if you have an the Asian American that's born in America and he wishes to be, a starring actor in a movie in Hollywood, the chances are extremely slim. If you have an Asian, if you see any Asian Americans in the NFL, well, their body types aren't built for that. But you don't see any Asian Americans in there. If you look at the NBA, there's barely, if like any at all. Or just any sport in general. I mean, there's not that many Asians in the professional sporting industry. There's not that many Asians in...
Okay, but even if you're not in the professional sports industry or, or a movie star, even though there's a lot of black people and white people that are stars and everything, you own your own restaurants, you own your own salons, you have your cleaners, you have your own communities, you have a base in America. So don't you think that in the Asian American race in general, do you think they have a lot of power in the country? Because even if they were going through racism, they can still fight against it. Because I get the feeling when people talk about that, because the reason why a lot of black people go through that is because we depend on everything. A lot of black people or any other people depend on people for them doing stuff. Hispanics, Arabs, Asians, everybody. But it seems to me like Asians, we don't have to depend on people like that, like people think they do. But that's my opinion.
Well, I could kind of understand where you're coming from, because like a while back, like years back, I looked at the statistics and they actually said that like Asians actually are the richest in America. Like they because
really?
Yeah, that's like that was way back then. But basically what it seems as if they basically they own a lot of businesses and they save their money, and they're owning a lot of businesses and they're saving their money and building themselves up. I mean, when you're talking about Asians, you're not just talking about Chinese and Japanese, but even Indians. I mean, Indians are considered Asian, and there's a lot of Indians within my area of where I live. As far as like in the Chicago area, and they're very successful as far as what I could see. You know, they're living in big homes, they got nice cars, and in a way, they kind of like they work together. Like in the Indian community, I noticed that they work together to kind of build wealth. So they kind of do it. They kind of do it in that way, and I guess basically, I understand where you're coming from. You know, like basically, if they like working together to build wealth. You know, and that
Go ahead, Big Rock. Go ahead, Big Rock.
I'm looking at something on Google now. It's called Top Asian American Corporate Executives Under 45. There's a Joyce Chang, Jason Chin, Sonia Dong, Diane Herawat, excuse me if I'm saying her name wrong, David Wu. These people, according to Google, you know, saying that they are years and, you know, they're young and, you know, they're running these corporations. They're ahead of their kids. So, you know, on one hand, where the caller is complaining about what agents aren't, there's a lot for agents to be, I wouldn't say rejoicing, but that they should, you know, be respectful of what they have here in America, because agents went through a lot here too, but agents have also excelled. According to Google here, as I'm looking at a Newsweek article, they say that agents are the smallest minority, but they turn out more college graduates than any other race here in America. So you all are very educated, you're highly educated, you're beyond so-called white man, so-called black man, so-called Mexican. You're corporate executives, you're running the business. A lot of Asians own a lot of the train stations and own a lot of stocks in airlines. Are you talking about poor Asians, or I mean, what are you speaking specifically on, sir? Because according to what I'm reading, you all are excelling as much as anyone else. It's just everyone can't be everything. In America, this is America's place. So you can go to China and see all the Chinese people, or you can go to Korea or Japan and see all of those particular type of Asian people on television and the movies all that you want. You're in America, you're in someone else's land, you know, excuse the expression, and here they portray you how they want to portray you. In Japan, I'm sure they portray white, black people, and Mexicans however they want to, and in China it's the same way. So who exactly are you talking about that's Asian and struggling, you know, the way that you're trying to make it out to be? Because it really sounds like you're just trying to rant rather than actually coming with actual factual knowledge.
Go ahead, Mr. Lee.
Well, I'm an individual that experiences racism as an individual.
So what you're saying is personal then?
Yeah, I'm not speaking about, like, I'm talking about my own personal experiences with.
Then you can't generalize and say this is what Asians are going through, because not all Asians are going through it. You're speaking from a personal sense, so, you know, quit trying to put Asians out there like that. Just speak about yourself. That's all I'm asking you to do. Because according to, you know, this government, this country that we live in, Asians are doing very well. They're very highly educated people, and because of that, they are respected. But you can't have everything your way. You have a country you could easily go back to if you want to see people that look like yourself and that are empowered. You can go and do that, you know, easily, right now. You know what I'm saying? But in America, America's culture is just what it is, and it picks and chooses just like you would, or any other person of any other race would in their country. The Indians over in India, you know, they can pick different races of people the way that they see them in their country. They have their own Hollywood, their own commercial, television, and things like that. America is the only place that has that, and America isn't the only place that can pick people like that. So don't really just put so much on Americans or generalize and say all Asians do this, that, or other. They struggle, they're not on TV. They don't have to be on TV. So people that make real money, you don't really see them. The people with the power, you don't really see them. There are a lot of Asians, even in the music business, that you don't even know about. Especially, you can even talk about the Asians, the black Asians, the mixed ones. It's a lot of them that produce music that are in the you never see them, but they get a big check before the rest of them get a check. I agree with that. I agree with what he just said. There are the elitists out there that we don't even know about.
Okay, good point. Freddie, answer that, please.
I mean, my thing is, I'm just looking from. It's just hard to speak about this because, like I said, I don't view it the way that you guys are speaking about it. I mean, I just see that, hey, you know, this guy's talking about me going back to my country, whatever the case may be, but I was born here. I don't even have the choice to go back. I don't even want to go back anywhere. And as far as, like, who owns America...
Big Ron, let him have the floor, Big Ron. Let him have the floor. Let him have the floor.
In America, he can go to China wherever he wants, whatever he wants.
But I mean, he just can't go to China right now. Let him have the floor. Let him have the floor.
You know, fact of the matter is, you're acting like you're trying to assume that I'm picking sides. Like, I'm not. I don't even have that many Chinese friends or Asian friends to begin with. I mean, I'm communicating with people of all races. I just view people as human beings, and I've never even been to China. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was born here. I'm speaking English. I don't even. I can't read or write Chinese. So I'm here. I was born here. I'm gonna stay here. And I appreciate being here, but who owns this place? Well, is it white people? Is it black people? I don't know who owns this place. Okay? Like, as far as America is concerned. Okay, if we could say, do white people own America? If we want to agree to that, then we're gonna speak based on that agreement. But obviously the Asians don't own America. They own their countries in the East. The Mexicans don't own America, they own Mexico. But who owns America? Is like, if the white people own America, then basically whatever you're arguing with me about, as far as me going back to my country, I could say the same thing to you and say all the blacks go back to Africa. I mean, how does that make you feel? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, I'm here in America, I was born here, and I'm just saying, you know, based on my life experiences.
A racist white man told me one day, he said, boy, if you don't like it, he'll take your ass back out.
But isn't that just what you just said to me? You just said the same thing to me.
So if you're going to be over here, and even though Asians don't run everything, or at least you don't see everything Asians do here in America, you know what I'm saying? You'd rather sit up and generalize based off of your personal feelings, because you just said you don't know who owns what. Before you make a statement, Google it, brother. You can find out a lot of information right there on the internet before you. It sounds as if you want some sort of power or fluency over people for yourself, and because you don't have that, you would rather say and talk about what Asians go through. Because, you know, I can sit up as a black man and say, well, you know, the black man went through this and try and blame a bunch of shit on white folks and all that. But I'm still here. I ain't trying to get no money to go to Africa or to Mars or nowhere else. I'm staying over here. So if I'm going to stay on this side, I better deal with the way that's given to me to deal with it, which is within the laws and statutes set forth by this country. You see what I'm saying?
I understand you. I'm
That's all I'm saying.
That's what I understand you. So I don't understand why you coming at me with what you're saying, because I never said anything that I want to go back to China or anything like that. I'm just.
You want America?
You know what? I'll tell you what. You know, the thing is, this race thing is every race wants to be superior to other races. And you really can't do that in our thinking. You have to come to the point and say, yeah, there's qualities in races that they produce, and respect that, and utilize those qualities within each other. And, you know, the Zionists have got us thinking in just the way that we're talking right now.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I don't even like to talk about things like this because it absolutely doesn't resolve anything. So I don't even know. Like I came on the show. I came on the show to basically share my experiences about what I learned in life. I'm not here to argue with anybody about anything. I mean, I'm thankful to be here, and I like people of all races, of all cultures, and I'm just trying to share things that I've learned from the Chinese culture that I think could benefit Americans. And I'm considered American too. So I'm not trying to pick sides here. I'm just trying to say, hey, there's certain things that Chinese people are doing, or Asian people, Indian people, Japanese people. There's certain things that they're doing that Americans can learn from, and there's certain things that Americans that are doing that people in the East can learn from. I'm not here to argue about with anybody.
What I'm just talking about is what goes on in America, and just talk about that. I mean, I'm not arguing with you. I didn't expect an argument, but I mean, argument is also necessary to see what other people's views are. So no one here is trying to disrespect you. He just had a disagreement. My co-host argues with white nationalists, black nationalists. That's what he does all the time, And if he disagrees, he disagrees. But I want to go to another topic on one of your other videos when you were at the gun range. So you said that you haven't shot for 5 years, but you're just naturally good at shooting?
Yeah.
Mr. Lee?
Yes. Hello?
Did you hear my question?
Yes.
Did you hear my question?
It wasn't a question. You just, well, you asked the question. I said yes. I replied yes. That I'm naturally good at it.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, like, what do you recommend people? Do you recommend people to go to the gun range? I mean, you said that if you don't have the money for it, don't do it. But how do you recommend people to get their aim and everything better like that? What do you recommend?
Well, I say get a BB gun and practice in your home with the BB trap. That the BB gun is actually very similar to a real firearm. It just doesn't have that kickback, and that's one of the best ways to start practicing your accuracy and aiming. Because basically, if you can't be a bullseye in a BB gun, there's no way you're going to be a bullseye in a real gun. So once you perfect the BB gun, then when you start shooting real guns, it's not going to be as difficult because you're kind of used to aiming.
Okay, and what do you recommend to get what do you recommend to buy first? Yeah, gotcha. What do you recommend to buy first? If you're trying to buy it.
Buying a real gun, you mean? Or a BB gun?
Okay, buy a BB. Okay, to work on accuracy, okay, and then try to get. Okay, I like that. All right. And another thing of your videos, do you recommend basically eating gluten-free items, basically? Do you recommend eating gluten-free items, vegetables, noodles? What do you recommend to eat, basically?
Well, my wife is the one that's like the queen of the nutrition stuff. She kind of takes care of that, but certain people are allergic to gluten, and they can only eat gluten-free stuff. And basically it's supposed to be healthier for you, but it's more expensive. So it's more expensive, but it's supposed to be a lot healthier. But sometimes it doesn't taste as good for certain products. Like she baked a cake that was gluten-free, and it didn't taste as good as the regular cakes that aren't gluten-free, but it's healthier for you. But it does cost more money. It's
Is there a way you can get healthier food without really paying for all that money for just food? Or?
Well, the best way to eat healthy is like buying the food in the grocery store and cooking it yourself. That's going to cut down on the costs. But healthy food is always going to be more expensive than unhealthy food. So like you're talking about like organic bananas compared to regular bananas. The organic bananas will always cost more. But the more that you eat at home, that's how you save the money. But if you go out to eat, it's going to cost more money. So if you say you eat at McDonald's or you eat at a burger joint, it's going to cost you a good amount of money. But if you use that same money and you buy food at the grocery store and you cook it yourself, you might spend less money and then you get the healthy food. But if you compare like a healthy restaurant compared to unhealthy restaurant, usually the healthy restaurant is gonna cost more because the stuff that they cook with just is more of higher quality, and this is how it works. So basically, they've made it where to eat healthier, it does cost a little bit. It does cost more money, but you know, a lot of, you know, you kind of save your money by home cooking a lot. You know, opposed to eating out. Because you eat out a lot, it costs a lot of money. Even for unhealthy food, it costs a lot of money. So the key is basically eating at home.
Okay, so basically, okay.
The key is, yeah.
You're saying people need to grow their own food to save money. Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily grow your own food, because a lot of people, it's gonna be difficult for people, especially who live in the city, to do that. I'm saying you gotta go to the grocery store and buy the food and make it yourself. Like you buy the veggies at the grocery store, you bring it home, you make your own food, opposed to depending on a restaurant to cook it for you. Because if you go to the restaurant to have them cook it, it's gonna cost a lot more. You know, so basically the people that eat unhealthy outside, it costs a lot of money. And all that money, say you go out to eat all the time, you spend $400 a month, you could spend that $400 at the grocery store, buy a lot of healthy stuff, and then cook it at home. And then now you actually have a lot more healthy food, and then it's actually, it could be cheaper actually.
Okay. Do you agree with Guest 6 and Big Ron? Big Ron, I'm going to go with you first.
I mean, I agree. You know what I'm saying? We need to be healthy and all that, but, you know, unfortunately, man, we live in a society where between your job and your children's job, which is school, and, you know, trying to pay bills and all of that, and especially with this situation with a lot of unwed mothers and single fathers that are out here, man, a lot of people don't have time. So what they do, there is a demand, even for what the brother's saying, you know, even himself, you know, if his wife is cooking, if there's a demand for more healthier food, you know, you and I both agree that people need, you know, more gluten-free food. You know, these things are in this food in order to preserve it until they can present it to you. If you go to a restaurant, like you said, and it's true, it costs a little more because they're using more natural food, more likely it's not GMO. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I agree, but at the same time, because we're so busy, we depend on restaurants and other people, things outside of ourselves, to do the things we should be doing naturally for ourselves. So that may be something you can look into for yourself and your wife. Maybe you want to, you know, even if you just start at your house, start doing more healthier dinner. And, you know, several people, man, you'll probably make a choice.
Good advice.
Well,
I don't know much about the health food, brother. Okay. You don't know much about the health food. Well, you've been on for about 2.5 hours, man. Let me ask you a few more questions and I'll let you go. Just complete.
yeah.
You still with us, Mr. Lee?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. I wanted to also ask you about the training regimen. So you're basically a karate teacher. So basically, when we do the stretching, and people can go to Freddie's YouTube, Freddie Lee. Just look at Freddie Lee on his YouTube. Basically, you're a karate teacher. You teach stretches and you teach. I saw you bench 225 like 10 times with some help. What do you recommend for the best stretching and the best upper body exercises without using weights?
Well, the absolute best exercises that I would recommend would be the squat, like just squatting down with no weights. Just squat down, do that maybe 30 times or more, and then do a basic push-up. That's one of the best exercises for the chest, triceps, and shoulders. And then a basic pull-up, just need a pull-up bar. Do that. Those would be like the three like main exercises, and then you could do a sit up, which is just lay back and just sit up, works the abs. Those would be like the main ones, and that's pretty much all you really have to do for like basic like maintenance level like strength training. As far as stretching is concerned, something like called a half split. You just go down into that where you just kind of bend one knee down as far as you could bend it down, and then you stretch like your inner hamstring. You just do that on both sides, and then you could bring your knee towards your chest and hold that your knee to your chest. Hold that first 30 seconds. Do that on both sides. Grab your foot, and then like have your foot touch like the back of your butt, and hold that stretch. That stretches the quads right there. And then the basic arm stretches are just like stretching your arm across your neck or your throat, and then stretching your arm, holding down your elbow behind your head. Those would be the main like basic stretches that that everybody should be doing. But yeah, you don't really need any money to do this stuff, and it doesn't take that long either.
Yeah, I just watched some of your YouTube videos. Those are some good stuff that you're doing, exercise and everything. We like a lot of your videos, though. We definitely had a few disagreements on the show. That's like that. It was definitely a pretty good show. I need to get you and your wife back on here by sometime in January or February to interview you again. Maybe your wife can get on here and talk about health and how to cook this time, because I kind of like some of her take too. But I just want to ask this last question. The Big Raw respond to you. So overall, okay. Overall, how do you think this country is going to look in the next 10 or 15 years if people don't wake up, and if people don't actually act against it and work for themselves and just depend on people? How long do you think this country is going to last if people don't start taking action?
I mean, I have like a positive outlook in the future. I mean, I think that my criticisms in America are just ways of trying to encourage it to get better than it already is. But I think that our country is not doing that bad. I mean, we're still considered probably considered like the #1 country in the world, and a lot of people want to come here, like from everywhere, all over the world. And we just have some problems that we could improve. We do have a violent media, and things aren't perfect, but I enjoy living here, and I think people, from my experiences, I think it's going pretty well over here. It's just that I criticize certain things because no matter how good it's going, it still can improve. Yeah, there's a lot of shootings and killings. There's a lot of deaths, but I mean, there's positivities as well. And we're not a third world country. I mean, a lot of minorities are complaining about certain things, about racism or whatever the case may be, but I don't see anybody really starving in America. I mean, we got food to eat, we got places to live, we got, a lot of people got decent jobs, even though they might not like their jobs. But I think that we'll be fine. I mean, I don't see like anything like the things are going like really horrible, and that the immediate changes need to be done. I mean, I think that we're doing okay. And I think that we've already gone through like a part of, where it has gone pretty bad, where there's like the housing bubble, and because I lost a lot of money like purchasing this home, like the value went down a lot, and I think a lot of people lost money in the stock market. A lot of people lost their jobs. We had like one of the worst unemployment rates. I think we've gone through like pretty rough, and things are starting to get a little bit better, I think. So I think that I see it.
That the poor population was getting up, and someone told me that 80% of Americans are on near poverty line. I don't know if that's true or not, but Big Raw, can you respond to Mr. Lee, please?
Well, just off what that has to work for a living anyway. If we could do like everyone every summer, you could do a labor job, just, whether you out in the sun, whether you lifting up, because it really seems to me that, if you want to stay healthy, people that work and are constantly in motion and doing, they're the ones that live the longest, once you sit around and, you start, what they call living high off the hog, get fat, then, just kind of weather away, all the stretches and things that, the league talk about is, that's right and exact. You know what I'm saying? But, a lot of people, unfortunately, they kind of lazy. They don't really want to do all that. So I'm just saying that, if you do, if you, I guess, if you're outside, you're in that sun, you're lifting stuff, or you're doing some kind of labor work, the way you're, getting your heart rate going, and you actually have to work to accomplish your job. And I think, even though we consider that work, I think that's still, probably the best remedy to, a lot of the ailments that we have. Because once we stop working, which, the ability to not have to work that hard, even though, we get the dry sands and stuff, look good or whatever, we start weathering away.
Mr. Lee, do you have any response to that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with them. I think it's very important for us to basically exercise. And, a lot of the jobs right nowadays is like the higher paying jobs essentially have you do less. A lot of the higher paying jobs, you sit in the office all day and you're in front of a computer screen. And the more money that people make, the less active they are. The manual labor jobs, like the one where you're working on the grass, cutting the grass, or being a construction worker, you don't get paid as much, but you do a lot of labor. So the people that have like more of the jobs where you get paid a lot of money to sit down and really not do much, they should for sure integrate like an exercise program within their daily life, like at least an hour a day, to balance out that inactivity. If they don't integrate that exercise program every day, then what ends up happening is they just get very unhealthy. They could get obese, they get like diabetes or whatever, and then they just end up dying early. So basically people need to they need to take more action to kind of take care of their health. And basically just stop watching so much TV, because we keep complaining about all the stuff that we see in the media that we don't like. So rather than watching TV, we should just exercise and just make our money and just spend time with our families and friends, and then just live a good life,
Or just watch on TV. But guys, I have some news, a big one. This is for you too. Tommy Sotomayor's shop just got shut down by his producer, and he says that it was over him telling her producer. I met him in person last week and met the producer. It was over him saying that we don't have a future together. And this is the reason why if you talk to certain women, especially American women, they can really let you down, man. If you don't, a woman's scorn is so tough in this country. A woman can get away with anything she wants in this country, man. Do you guys agree with that or no?
Well, I don't have any comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Lee.
I don't have any comment on that, because I really don't even understand this. I don't even know about the circumstances of what's going on.
Yeah, well, if I have time, I can email you the video to tell you what's going on. Do you have an opinion, Big World?
Well, it's bad that, the relationship with himself and his producer went the way that it went. But honestly, it's all it tells, in my opinion, Tommy Sotomayor, is that he just step up his game and do what he need to do for himself and find someone else. I mean, especially when you're doing business, relationships fail. I mean, that's just how it is. Look at personal relationships you have with your wife or your husband or your spouse. You know what I'm saying? So, if anything, you should have expected it. You know what I'm saying? The more popular you become, the more of those who you deal with feel as if they're supposed to get more or to get jealous or whatever the case may be. But, you can move on to a better situation. situation for himself. You know, it's just one of the growing pains of having it running your own business.
Okay, and that's the reason. But I mean, you know, I hope the best for him. But that's really about it. I wanted to actually talk about that because it just happened. I'll send both of the video later. But Mr. Lee, do you have any closing comments, thoughts on the show, or anything you want to add, or?
You know, I think it was an enjoyable, you know, interview, and you know, you know, I had a good time, and you know, I don't really have anything else to add. You know, I mean, it was a good time, and I appreciate you contacting me and having me on the show.
Alrighty, Big Raw.
You know, I chimed in a little late, but you know, it was conducted very well. Everything went fine. You know, and I do, you know, look forward to speaking to the both gentlemen again on the future show. Hope they'll come back. And I want to know, you know, don't be offended about me. That's why I didn't, you know, get to the point where I was cursing or anything like that. It's just that I feel as if, you know, before any of us say anything, we should do research on something. That's all I'm saying.
Alright, I'll send both the video after the show just to tell you what's going on. But thank you, Mr. Lee. We need to have you and your wife again to talk more about what's going on in America and in China and more about eating healthy. And Big Raw, we have a show tomorrow at 9 p.m. with Nakia Smokes a Lot about why marijuana needs to be legalized. So thank you, Mr. Lee. Thank you, Big Raw.
Thank you. Thanks.